Hey everyone, I wanted to try and fill a few holes that I might have left in the abbreviated class this morning in regards to style tiles. So we talked a little bit about the function style tiles fill within the design process, and really they're just an expedient way to get some ideas out on paper that's a little better than, say, a mood board, but not quite the investment that full fidelity mock-ups would be. That way you don't want to kill the client when they tell you that they don't like yellow. This is a good chance to get all those kind of preliminary questions out of the way. And really, in order to complete this, it's going to start with asking a lot of questions. Now, typically you would have a client to ask these questions of, but in your case, you're kind of one and the same. So it is going to be a slightly contrived exercise, but I do want you to keep in mind the role that you play and the role your presumed, I suppose, user will play in this and who you're trying to appeal to. So one thing in the Frost reading, there's a link to it, but it's style tiles. You can see up here it has the Espanol top level domain, making it a single word. So this is where you'll find this. And this gives a brief overview. There's a template, and this template is in Photoshop. I find it to be a bit of a bear to use, but if you would like to, that is just fine. Otherwise, you can create a new document in Figma, which is probably where I'd go, just so I had all those colors and styles and everything all preloaded if I did decide to implement something. But you could do it in Illustrator, you could do it in InDesign, whatever you need to do to make it your own. And I'm going to take you through how this might materialize via a couple of examples. Now there's there's three style tiles and then the final site. But I think the starkest difference is between tile 1 and 2. So I'm going to talk you all through that right now. So if I click on this and pull this up, if you look at this and we compare it to the second one, this is the exact same logo. But the real difference comes into the subtleties of the typeface, the colors selected. If I were to look at this, and they've already selected the adjectives for us, but you see current, smart, stimulating, comprehensive. Now, the first one is the big clue, I think, for me. When you say current, I start to think of progressive. And this color scheme may be made popular by the Obama campaign in 2008, but these kind of bright colors, bold headlines, slab serifs, these sort of things speak to a little bit more of a progressive readership in my mind. And if you were to compare this and the visuals of this to the second style tile, I would start to talk a little bit more about this in terms of a conservative readership, right? The colors are more muted. They're a little darker in value and maybe even tone. I mean, this is kind of a faux engraving, which speaks to kind of a long history. You look at authoritative as a word. Not that I don't think personally that fine serifs can't be progressive, but in this context of a readership of a political newspaper, for instance, it seems like these more conservative choices are in line with this more authoritative tone. You can see how the buttons materialize. They look a little less poppy, for lack of a better word, and to use a dumb word, I suppose. The the two are two potential directions for the client depending on how they want to be viewed, and that's what we're looking for by way of this exercise. So you'll have to kind of imagine your own product a couple different ways, and I think it's a good exercise. I'm sure you all know what this needs to look like at the end, and when I say I mean your own specific project. You have a very strong idea, but sometimes that first idea isn't always maybe the most appropriate, or you're leaving some ideas on the table. So I think we're going to do two different ones, one of which is due on Friday, as I'll mention on the yet to be revised project sheet. But I think it'll be a good exercise in getting out some residual ideas and making a couple comprehensive directions. Even if you already have somewhat of an idea of where you think you might want to go, I think this will be a good way to put all the cards out on the table, so to speak. So, like I said, I just wanted to fill in potentially a couple of gaps since we kind of ran short on time today as to where these style tiles fit in the workflow of things and how they relate to where this project is going. Let me know on Slack if you don't understand something or something needs to be clarified, but otherwise I hope this helped. Thanks.